Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be doing a live commentary where basically I'm just going to be talking about random crap that's on my mind really. I'm going to be playing Bioshock 2, but I won't be showing that. I'll be showing some other videos that I've just pre-recorded just in case I wanted to do some post-commentary on something. I don't know really where to start. Maybe regarding the updates I put out, I suppose. I'm really enjoying doing videos on YouTube. It's actually really fun for me, and it's quite a nice hobby to have. I do have other hobbies, such as I go to the gym quite a lot, which is quite nice. I obviously have my work, and you know, I enjoy playing rugby and cricket, but being in Canada, it's not easy to do. Obviously, cricket's pretty much out of the question until I'm just changing the sound volume here, so it doesn't affect me too much while thinking. Obviously, playing cricket in Canada is pretty hard to do, basically because of, well, reasons. Not many people play cricket over here. The only people who do play are basically the brown community, like the Asians, such as like the Indians and the Sri Lankans and the Pakistanis, and it is actually great. I really enjoy playing cricket with them, because obviously in England I only really played with English people, and it's actually nice to see how different people play different sports. Like even stuff like bowling actions and the way people bat is completely different, and it's absolutely astounding to me. It's so cool. And rugby is also a bit tricky because the season over here is basically during the summer and September. I mean, I used to play university rugby, which was really, really fun. Like, I loved the social side of it, meeting a lot of people, and also I just loved the fact that, you know, you get to know new people. It's kind of like whenever you pick any club going into university, ooh, something weird is happening. But anyway, you always need to meet new people at university. That's one of the main things I'd say when you go to university. My dad actually said to me before I went, this is where basically you start your life again in a way. If you've made any mistakes before, you can just breeze them by and start new. And I took it literally and came to Canada, and to be honest, it was a great decision. My voice has changed a bit, which is a bit weird. I used to sound really Yorkshire, and if any of you are from Yorkshire, I think you'd understand. Or England in general. People from Yorkshire get a bit of... what's the word? We get a bit of shit. We get for the way we talk. And not rightfully so, obviously, but, you know, we don't really say the word the, we say t, which is quite interesting. But, you know, it's interesting how my voice has changed in just over 3 years. And, you know, it just shows how people can change so fast. And, to be honest, it's awesome. If you're not happy with your lifestyle you have, change yourself, you know. I mean, I wasn't really happy being in England. I felt very constricted, just because I went to a private school, and basically there's a way that you have to act in a private school, like especially mine, where basically, you know, you have to be rightful, and you have to be nice, and you have to be very good, and all this stuff. And obviously, when you leave school, it's basically a big turning point in your life, and it's a nice turning point because it means you can go out into the world and do what you want. If you don't want to go to university or college, you can do. And that is absolutely brilliant. You can go and pick up a job. You can go and play sports. And if you're still not confident enough to do anything like that, you know, stay at home and get the support you need from either families or friends or anybody around. And that's the way I see it. Oh, I got Electro Ball now, that's nice. I am actually starting this game again. I got about halfway through, but that was about a year ago, so I completely forgot the whole story. So I'm starting it again. And I may do some videos on it, I'm not sure yet, because, to be honest, this is a brilliant game. but Bioshock 1 is so much better, and I've also played through that many times just for the story. Even though I know all the twists, I know all the turns, it's absolutely great. Absolutely wonderful story. I've nearly played through the whole of Bioshock Infinite. I don't know, I just really like Rapture. Rapture to me is a very appealing place. It's quite dark, and, you know, it's nice to see video games take a chance and do something different. And for me, that is exactly what Bioshock did. It was completely different to a lot of games. It was very story-based. The mechanics aren't great. They're okay. There's not really much to the combat. It's more about the environment. It's more about the people around you. Like, for me right now, I'm just going around hitting splicers in the head with a big drill. And it's not about the combat itself, but it's about what they say. It's about, where they go, I'm gonna kill you, or come at me, bro, kind of thing. And it's very interesting, and I wish more games did that. I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. With my friends, I used to play a lot of Modern Warfare 1. And to me, that was great. It was great, like a friend game, if you know what I mean. Like, it's good to play with others. The story for it was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed the story. But there was a few problems with it. It is just a shooter. There's no real depth to it. And I love games with depth. Even if it's not in the mechanics, it might also be in the techniques you can use, even like different weapons. And you find one which suits you, but then you go around and you find one which is even better, and all of this stuff. Like, I think that's what really draws me to War Thunder, and also because I really enjoy the history around the early 1900s to mid-1900s. Like, I've been watching... there's a Big Daddy there. I am a Big Daddy, but anyway. I really enjoy watching Downton Abbey, weirdly enough, which definitely isn't supposed to be for the demographic I am. I mean, I am 20. It's supposed to be mainly aimed at... Can I break this? Nope. Damn it. But it's basically designed for, I think people older than me, people who are more into politics and history and stuff, but I still really enjoy it. Like, I think it's absolutely brilliant to see how the higher classes and the lower classes changed in England over just the space of 20 years, basically the First World War. I didn't realise the political implications it had. I thought it was just a war because Germany wanted to, conquer the world. But no, there was so much more to it. There was so much to, the monarchy against politicians and everything like that. And it's very, very interesting to me. So I've actually been doing a lot of research into it after watching Downton Abbey, and I tell you what, it is amazing, the amount that I've just missed. And there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of shows, even comedy shows, which spread light on stuff which isn't usually thought of in that way. Like, I really enjoy the IT Crowd. Even though there's only, I believe, 3 seasons of it, and then they did that extra special episode, which to me was great. It was very fun. But it shows the light on a lot of issues that you wouldn't even think about. Let's get some rivets here. Basically stuff like the way that people are actually used in the workplace. Like, a lot of people don't value people basically because they don't understand it. Like, the whole point of the IT Crowd is that... Let's just get some more rivets. The whole point of the IT Crowd is basically that there's these 2 guys who work in IT in a big company, and they have a boss as well. And this boss is quite a beautiful lady. Like, she's very nice, and she's also a bit crazy, which is always fun in TV shows. But it shows the implications and stuff like that people have to go through for jobs like that. People just aren't valued. They're kind of like, well, we know you have to be here, but we don't really know why. And it is a bit weird, because I can also relate to that, because, to be honest, I graduated in chemistry, in applied chemistry, from university, and I went straight into a laboratory job. which is quite fun. Like, I really enjoy it because basically you're doing something new every day. And if you're not doing something new every day, you're doing, stuff which actually makes things. You're not just looking at books and going, oh, I wonder what that would be, or, ooh, I wonder if I could make that. You actually try and do it. It's very practical, which is nice to me. I really enjoy it. And I can talk to people, like if I go on a date or if I talk to some friends, and I talk about, where I work and stuff, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. And, that's not a fault of theirs. I mean, I don't expect everybody to understand, like, what I do. But, I kind of get that. It's kind of as somebody talked to me about accounting. I don't really understand accounting. I don't really understand why people do it. But, to each their own. If you enjoy accounting, then that's your jam. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't like to do what I do. I mean, I know a lot of people wouldn't, because I've talked to a lot of people. But, yeah, I find it quite amazing, to be honest. That there's a lot of parts in our lives that we take for granted. I mean, think about, like, your electronics. Like, I've spent a lot of time learning about computers, what computer's best for what graphics cards are best, CPUs, even GPUs, and, what fits best together. And a lot of people just go out and don't really know what it is. And they just go for what they think is best. And even with, like, my family, like, whenever they get a new computer or they get something new, they ask me what I think of it. And, I mean, it is a bit weird that people say stuff like that, because for me, that is information that should be known in this world. But they don't. It's pretty much as simple as that, so you kind of have to just go with it. Whoa, this is very nice artwork here. But yeah, you just have to kind of accept that people will not always know what you do or what you talk about, which is completely fine, because it's the same thing that I have. As I said, like, if an accountant talked to me, I wouldn't know what he was talking about. So, kind of get over it in a way. But yeah, so that was an interesting thing. So basically what I'm trying to say is, don't always judge what people do, and don't always judge them for it. I mean, the best people I know have the simplest jobs in the world. I mean, just stuff that could be done by anybody. Yes, okay, Tenenbaum, I understand. Thank you. But yeah, a lot of people don't see jobs as a way of life. They see jobs as a way to get money to do what they want, which I completely agree with. I mean, I'm very lucky that I got into a field of work that I really enjoy. I absolutely adore chemistry and what it can do to this world, and how you can actually change it just by adding two compounds together and seeing what happens. The fact that you can see physical changes, chemical changes, and you can measure that, to me, is absolutely astounding, and I love every part of it. But to a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. And there is something behind me. But yeah, I don't have a go at people who say that they do their job to make money. Because first of all, in life, that's what we have to do. First of all, we have to make money to survive. And, yeah, I mean, think about all the things that brought you into this world. I mean, obviously you had to have money to do it, otherwise you would have died from starvation or cold or anything like that, especially in Calgary. It's bloody cold right now. But all those things. And I have a lot of friends who are very outgoing, and they treat the job as money and then just go to places. And that is awesome. I mean, I do it too, but on a little bit of a less scale. Because I'm very money worried. I'm quite paranoid, say, if something happens. Like, let's say if something bad happens to my family and then I have to go back, or some of my friends back home. Like, I have to always have that buffer to say, look, if something happens, I need to, I need to be ready for it. But that's just me. I'm a paranoid weirdo who doesn't sleep that much, as you can probably tell by the amount of videos I make, and the fact that I work like a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, I find it tough to sleep, and I have all the sympathies in the world for people who can't sleep, because I know exactly what it's like, unfortunately. It's very hard. Very, very hard to sleep for me. Like, I will literally just sit in bed with nothing on. Like, no podcast or anything. I don't really watch TV. But anything like that. Ooh. Remote hack tool. Can I get any more? Nope. And what am I supposed to do with this? I'm supposed to hack something, but what? Oops, not that. Don't waste hack ammo. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, I don't think I suffer from insomnia, because I always know what I'm doing in a way. If that makes sense. Like, I know when I'm awake, and I know when I'm asleep. Which I believe that is one of the classic traits of insomnia, where you don't really know. There we go. Okay. What? Oh my god, this is interesting. I've never seen this before. And doop. Oh, lovely. I like that hacking system. A lot easier than Bioshock 1. As I said, I've completely forgotten about this whole bloody game. But yeah, I don't suffer from not knowing when I'm awake or anything like that. I just suffer from sleep deprivation. And to be honest, when I'm really, really tired, I talk the most. I'm not that tired now, I'm just saying that. Where I do a lot of videos after work when I'm tired and stuff, but it works really well for me. Oh damn, I missed. Come on, kill. There we go. And Kaboozy and Kaboozy. Right, they're both dead. And yeah, that's when I do most of my long recordings, such as like Company of Heroes games, because I find when I'm tired, you kind of just talk and talk and talk. There's no real thinking to it or anything like that. Like right now, I have people talking to me in the background of this game while I'm playing it, and I'm finding it very easy to talk. But this is a weird place. When I am distracted by people talking and playing a game, I find it very easy to talk about stuff. And usually that also means that I do say some things that I won't even think about, which is why I still try and stay away from politics and, stuff like that, because it's a tough issue for a lot of people. I mean, for me, not so much, because after seeing what's happened in England, the political situation, it basically shows me that it doesn't matter who you put into power, the country will still be screwed up. Nobody is ever happy with everything, which I think is a big thing you can learn if you put up videos on YouTube. Basically, stop talking, lamb, nobody cares. You find some people really praise your videos, and other people will leave very nasty comments. Doesn't matter if they're trolling or not, but they'll leave nasty comments, and basically all you can say to them is, well, don't watch the video then. But the thing is, they'll watch it, and they'll comment just to get a reaction from you. And, I have this policy where no comment is a negative comment. Even if they're portrayed as negative, because I can learn from it. If people are trolling, that's a completely different matter, they're just arses. Oh, thanks for breaking the glass there, son. Oh crap, he's actually killing me. Oh, I'm on fire. Am I supposed to die here? Yeah, I am. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, if people are trolling, that's a completely different matter. They're just being assholes, really. I don't really see the point in it. I understand people get gratification from annoying people, but I just don't get it. Remote hark dart. I can eat that, chomp chomp. Even though I can't. But yeah, I don't like negativity. I think it's a thing that stops a lot of people doing a lot of things. Let's get out of this water. Negativity stops people from being who they really want to be. I struggled with it a lot when I was a teenager, and I'm sure a lot of people did as well when I was, you know, mid-teens and stuff. Let's get that. There we go. Hack that camera. Yeah, because, you know, when you're a teenager, you don't really know what's going on. You think you do, which is a big thing. Like, you think that you're king of the world for some weird, dodgy reason, and it's a complex that all teenagers have. Or they either think they're really confident and know everything, or they struggle with it a lot and don't really know how to handle it. And I was one of those kids who didn't really know how to handle it, and because of that, I was quite shy, to be honest, when I was a teen. And coming to Canada, I think, changed a lot of stuff like that for me. It helped me kind of be forced to get to know people and get to push myself to do stuff that I wouldn't usually do. Like go out and chat and, you know, go out with mates and go to the bar and things like that, instead of just going to house parties and seeing the same people every week. Obviously, it did have some negatives coming to Canada. I lost some of my friends. But the thing is, if you're going to university, it's very hard to keep all of your friends anyway. Very, very hard. Because when you're at school, you're kind of forced to know these people, and especially as well where you live. And that's fine, because it gives you an environment that becomes stable to you, that becomes the norm, which is good for a person who's trying to grow. Obviously, if that environment is bad, then that's a problem. But the thing is, when you're older, you can get rid of that, in a way. And I just pressed the button, and I have no idea what I just did. That's not good, but oh well, I'll just keep moving, keep on trucking. And she knows the way. Okay. Ah, flammable. Ooh. I see what I'm supposed to do here. Kaboozy. Goodbye. And just take this and get talking again. Ow, don't shoot me, thank you. Not impressed with that. Ooh, there's more people to blow up. Goodbye. Hey. Throw a chair at you and then I'll shoot you a bit. So there you go. How do you feel about that, son? But yeah, when I was a teenager, I struggled a lot with a lot of aspects of life. Not with the normal stuff, weirdly enough. I was actually, you know, I had a few girlfriends going through the teenage years. I had the teenage dream. I thought I was in love, all of this stuff. But times change and you move country and realize that that's not you. Which is, it only took me to go to a different country to see what was going on. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, but there was a lot of other stuff that there's a lot of stuff that you learn when you're a teenager that you don't necessarily agree with until you grow up. Like, there was a lot of times where I would argue with my parents, especially my dad, about things. And when you grow up, or at least when you start going to university or get on to the next stage of your life, you realize that he was right. How could I not see that before? And then there's actually been a few times where I've been Skyping my father and then just been like, yeah, I get it now. Like, I'm sorry for not thinking like that. So, you know, most of the time it is good to listen to your parents. Even when you're older. I mean, I'm 20 now and I still listen to my dad on lots of things. Before making any huge decisions, I do talk to him. Just to make sure of stuff like that. Right. And boom, dead we go. Yeah, so just looting corpses here, sorry about that. Just making sure I don't pick up anything dodgy, because this game is so annoying for stuff like that. where you pick up something that you're not supposed to, and it gives you like less Adam or less health, stuff like that. So I'm just checking around. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with what I'm doing right now, just talking into a camera. Even though I'm not even talking to a camera, I'm talking into a microphone because I'm an absolute idiot and can't even flipping remember stuff. But yeah, I find it quite fun just to talk about things. Like, I maybe do like segments every so often on movies I've seen, or, you know, stuff which is just a bit different to the norm. Hey, I can not get up there, that's a bit infuriating. But I saw Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, and it was crap, to be quite honest. I'm a big fan of Frankenstein by Mark Shelley. It's an amazing novel, and the thing I love about it is the start of it. The fact that this whole time, you're basically, at the start of the book, you are... telekinesis, okay, there we go. Basically, you are in the mind of Dr. Frankenstein, and I think this is what gets a lot of people wrong. Basically, they think that Frankenstein is the monster. But no, there's more. Like, Frankenstein is actually the doctor's, Dr. Frankenstein, who comes up with the creation. And the creation is Frankenstein's monster. He's not actually ever called Frankenstein. I'm guessing he's just called Frankenstein by a lot of people just to make it easier for people. But that's a bit weird to me, how, like, you know, it's a pretty well-known book, and it's had a lot of adaptations. And nobody seems to know that the guy's called... It's Frankenstein's monster. It doesn't even have a name. Because it ran away. It was never given a name. And, yeah, so there's a little fact for you, if you've never read the book. I would strongly recommend the book, though. It's absolutely great. Hey, stop throwing stuff at me. Thank you. Oh, security cameras. Where is it? Oh, okay. Let's just hack this thing. That's not... I was looking at this thing, and it's a searchlight, and I thought it was a camera. Yep, I'm that clever sometimes. But yeah, I've been also reading this book called Yorkshire Airfields of the Second World War. As I said before, I'm very interested in the Second World War. And the Yorkshire Airfields, which are basically, if you're not from England, they're the... it's basically the kind of the central northeastern part of England. It's a very weird, like, place to describe where it is. But the airfields, yeah, were basically used for protecting the north, protecting a lot of the industry, since there was a lot of industry in the area, and also for bombing, which was quite interesting. So you see a lot of stuff like stories about the Blenheim, and stories about the Beauforts, and I can't remember the name of them, but they were absolutely rubbish. I'll need to have a look at that later. I'll probably put it in the description when I listen to this back. But yeah, there was a story I was reading about Linton on Ouse, which is actually a place I used to play cricket, which is very, very weird to me. And basically, this place, it housed, obviously, bombers for counterattacks or attacking Norwegian places or Scandinavian places. Basically, industry that the Nazis were using, and even airfields over there to try and stop the bombers coming after England in the Battle of Britain. And there's a story of this pilot who told this story about the bomber that he was flying. It might have been the Whitby bomber or something like that, maybe. And basically, these bombers were the worst of the worst that they used in the Second World War. and he was flying from Linton on Ouse, took off, nearly collided with somebody because he was going so low that somebody from behind was going much faster than him and nearly collided him straight away, because this thing, he said, it was called Old Bertha, and it was the worst of the worst bombers, and it was basically used as one which, if other planes were getting repaired, then it would be used, even though it was in an absolutely terrible state. And I find it quite funny that he first of all flew the thing in the first place. And yes, I know how to change armor type, thank you. No, I can't go that way, it doesn't seem. Or maybe I can. Let's see, can I walk through this? Oh no, I can just pick them up. Wow, that was a terrible trap there. And he was talking about that he took off. First of all, nearly crashed straight away, as you do, into another plane. Nearly collided into another plane. And it took him the whole of the North Sea, because they were going east from England. And it took him the whole of the North Sea just to get to the right altitude that all the other bombers were at. And to me that is absolutely insane, because most of these bombers took about 20 miles to get to what they would call, bombing altitude, I suppose they would call it. And this thing took the whole of the North Sea, which is quite a fair distance, and because it was so cold at that altitude, the thing used to freeze up. And a lot of bombers in England had this problem because they weren't in great nick most of the time. And the engines would actually freeze up because they were so high in the air. And obviously oxygen was a big problem as well, but they had oxygen masks. That there was a lot of planes which would get over the North Sea, obviously be at that altitude, and they had to turn around or dive to get back, because their engines would freeze, their engines would stop, and then they would be basically screwed. And I find that absolutely fascinating that stuff like this happened. And this guy was talking about Old Bertha, and he was talking about how he was below cloud cover because they couldn't climb anymore, and because it was only his plane which was below cloud cover, he was getting shot at by all the flak, and he basically made a snap decision and said, right, we've got to turn this thing around, otherwise we're going to die here. And that thing, his crew survived thanks to him and that decision, because when he was near base, the engines just shut off and died. He made a very good call there, and basically he glided back over the North Sea, well, at least some of it, got back to England, and was able to glide into a field in Yorkshire. And if any of you know Yorkshire or from there, you know there's a lot of agricultural stuff. I mean, I used to live in a village where basically it was, you either live on a farm or you live in a cottage or a big house. So, yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, he managed to glide this thing into a field, and his whole crew survived thanks to him. And I wish I could remember his name, but what a saviour. I mean, even though he could have gone on, he could have bombed his targets if he'd got there, because remember, all of the flak was shooting at him all the time, instead of other people. He was able to get that thing back, to save his crew, to keep everybody alive, and then fight the next day. He actually flew the next day when his actual bomber was ready. And, I mean, well done to that man, and that shows the amount of skill that a lot of pilots had in World War II, especially in the Battle of Britain, if you're talking about... let's do that. If you're talking about British pilots, and also German, I mean, don't forget the German pilots. Never forget any nation. They all flew very well. I mean, Japan had the problem during the end of the war that they ran out of skilled pilots because of the whole kamikaze tactic, or the fact that... Let's just get some of them. The fact that they'd flown so many missions, and eventually, it doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, the Red Baron got shot down in World War One, for Christ's sake, and he was seen as the best pilot for Germany in that war. So it shows it doesn't matter how good you are, eventually your number will be up or you will get shot down. A lot of pilots in the Battle of Britain were shot down. And the problem that Japan had at the end of World War II when they were fighting the Americans is that they just ran out of pilots. And it's the same thing that Germany had. I mean, Germany at the end of World War II were basically fighting with Hitler Youth. Hitler Youth were defending Berlin, which is crazy when you think about it. But still, it's very, very interesting. And another thing about the Battle of Britain that a lot of people overlook, because a lot of people see it as a massive achievement for Britain, which it definitely was. I mean, it's just crazy to think that against all the odds, the British pilots were able to throw back the German advances. But the thing that people seem to forget is that it was mainly fought over Britain, and it was also mainly fought over the cliffs of Dover, or around that area of southern England, basically nearer the coast of England than France. So a lot of pilots were shot down, who were British, could be salvaged if they got their chute out and were able to land. So a lot of them were able to go back into action straight away, where a lot of German pilots couldn't. Especially the bombers, they would just be captured straight away. Which to me just shows that, that was also a key part for the war effort. And a lot of people overlooked little details like that. I mean, also, by the way, if you're quite interested in World War II, like I am, what I would do is I would go and watch a film called The Battle of Britain, or Battle of Britain. It has the guy out of Batman in it. I can't remember his name. His butler, but he's Michael Caine. There we go. It's got Michael Caine in it, and he was a lot younger then, and he plays a commander of some sort, I believe, and that's quite interesting to me because it was either in the 60s or the 70s. I believe it was the 60s, but it's a great film, and not just because it's very well made, but if you want to see Hurricanes, if you want to see Spitfires, if you want to see Heinkels, Bf-109s, if you want to Fokker-Wulfs, if you want to see all those things, you can go and watch the film and you'll see them. And the music is absolutely brilliant. There's a march in it named Aces High, which opens up near the start of the film. It's in the main sequence. And, there's a minigun there. Can I get that? Let's see, telekinesis? Nah, not today, son. But yeah. There's a power-up machine. I'm going to use that. Let's see, drill efficiency. Let's get increased damage. That's always good. But yeah, if you want to see actual real-life Spitfires and Hurricanes, well, first of all, go to a plane show or whatever they call them. There's an air museum that I used to go to near York, in Yorkshire once again. York is obviously a famous city for its Viking heritage, and I can't remember what it was called, but it's a Fleet Air Museum, and it was absolutely wonderful. I loved it there. I loved just walking around, looking at all the planes, and I used to live in a place called Beverley, which is near Hull. I used to go to school in Hull, and yes, Hull is not a very nice place, but I was lucky enough to go to one of the nicer schools there, and I didn't get into too much issues, because my dad he'd basically lived in Hull for about 25 years, so he knew the ins and outs, he knew where to go and where not to go, everything like that, so, I knew from a very young age what not to do there. But, as I was saying, I used to live in Beverley, and there used to be a small air museum there, and there was a Wellington of all things, at this air museum, and I found that amazing, and I think that Wellington's been moved now, or the place is shut down, and if it hasn't, go there now if you're in the area, because I tell you what, that Wellington is in supreme condition. It looks great, and it just, it's awesome to me. I really, really love, World War II bombers, the way they were designed. I mean, think about the Flying Fortress. There's another film called Memphis Belle, which follows a crew of Americans, which were the first crew, maybe the only crew, I need to actually look up that, which completed their full service full flight service for the American Air Force, which was basically you had to fly 25 missions, and if you were able to survive those 25 missions... Oh. Let's just kill this guy. And if you flew 25 missions, you were basically able to go home. And, you know, obviously a lot of people didn't make it back, even after their first mission. So to fly 25 missions, a lot of them into Germany itself, where there was a lot of anti-air guns, a lot of flak, a lot of AA, everything like that, was absolutely astounding. And these guys were commemorated by, they went on a tour around the US, basically boosting morale, getting people to buy war bonds, which would obviously help out. Oh, come on. No, bad time to reload. There we go. Would help out the war effort and basically keep the American army going. And, you know, the film's pretty good, and it shows a lot of aspects to war that people don't think about. They think about stuff like certain battles, such as the Battle of Britain, the invasion of Normandy, D-Day. They think about, you know, obviously the Flying Fortress, the Sherman tank, the Tiger tank. You know, iconic things, even stuff like the T-34 and the battle for Stalingrad. You know, all these things. But a lot of things in the war discounted and just not remembered. And that to me is just not sad, but I just wish people knew more about it, because obviously it changed. Oh god. Eleanor, be quiet. If you've played Bioshock 2, you know what I'm going on about. Let's just take all them. And a lot of stuff is overlooked, like technology-wise. I mean, think about radar. Think about sonar. Think about stuff like that. That wasn't really around until World War II. The first computer was in World War II, for Christ's sake. Obviously, the big thing everybody loves talking about is the first nuclear bomb. And, yeah, so there's that as well. And there's just a lot of feats of engineering, especially, which just amazes me. And, you know, it's awesome. Obviously, World War II wasn't awesome, but what it spawned was awesome. First of all, it got America out of a recession, which it was struggling with. Oh, I have to kill another Big Daddy. My kin! My country! My wife! But like, it's just... Oh, missed him. There we go. Dugga 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 dugga. Yeah, thanks for the roll. And a lot of people overlook stuff like that. And I wish they didn't, really. Because, you know, we should always remember what got us here. Which is why I think history is very important to learn about. And I know a lot of people disregard history as a useless subject. Same as people do with geography. I'd completely disagree. Because I see a lot of people who don't know geography, who don't know history, and, you know, it's quite hard to actually talk about them. Or, well, not about them, but to them about stuff, because they don't really know about the world. And to me, that's kind of sad. But you've got to remember, history is where we are today. History has brought us here. I mean, think about England. I mean, first of all, England, Sorry, I'm just listening to this guy. He's being pretty loud. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. But the thing about history of England, first of all, you have Vikings. Then you have the French. Then you obviously have the Germans. Then you have people like the Russians. You have all these things. Even the American Civil War, which was basically brought on by the British. If they think about if the British hadn't lost against the Americans, okay, in that war, which I can't remember the name of, which is very annoying, the Civil War may never have happened. And don't you find that just a little bit weird? How one event in history can change the whole world. Think about, as I said, the fact that the nuclear bomb was formed or made. If that hadn't been made... Wait. Okay, we can go that way. I'm just going to hack this thing, just to get it. And dink. There we go. Right, okay, it's up. But to me, that if the nuclear bomb or the atom bomb hadn't been created, then you never know how things would have been different. And to me, that is just bonkers crazy, thinking about stuff like that. I'm just going to kill this guy, and then after that, I'm just going to check how long I've been recording. Let's see. Okay, right, okay, got about 20 minutes left, that's fine. And resume game, here we go. But yeah, history is an interesting subject. Geography is even worse. People just hate geography. Maybe in school they find it very boring. And I can completely understand that. When I learnt geography in school, it was all about... Oops, sorry about that. It was all about just crap, really. Stuff that at the time doesn't seem very relevant, but when you get older, it really does. Like, we used to learn a lot about coastal erosion, which, to me, you know, I mean, meh. Like, nobody really cares about it. But the thing is, once you start getting older, and you start realizing about it, then, you know, it all kind of is related to stuff. I mean, we used to learn a lot about coastal erosion in relevance to the east coast of England, because it is made basically of a mixture of like mud and clay, and it gets eroded very fast every year. I think it's either 8 feet or something like that a year, which is quite a lot when you think about it. And that's the island of England is getting eroded 8 feet west every year. It's basically going inland 8 feet every year. And that's just crazy when you think about it. I mean, I believe there was a hotel near Scarborough, which I've been to quite a lot, which actually disappeared off the east coast and fell into the sea. And the problem was, they couldn't save it. There was no way of saving it, so they had to just abandon it and then just leave. And the thing fell into the sea, and it didn't disappear, obviously, it was still there. But I mean, that just shows how much geography does affect our everyday lives. I mean, we learn also a lot about stuff like metamorphic rocks, and I can't remember, sedimentary stuff, and things like that. And you never really see the relevance of it, and even stuff like flipping deforestation. You never see the relevance of it when you're actually learning it. But now, when you're older, and stuff like that, it starts to make sense. Now, university is completely different. I learned a lot of stuff in university which I didn't really need, and still don't really need. You find out when you go to university that when you actually get a job in the field that you work, it's very specified. The whole of your life, you're working towards basically personalizing yourself to one specific area of life. Like for me, it was chemistry. But you can even go further than that. I did analytical chemistry and practical chemistry. So that gets rid of theoretical stuff. And that also gets rid of a lot of other stuff. So you're basically specializing in a certain way the whole of your life until you're about maybe, I don't know, 30. And well, this thing's called You, Me, and 1959. That sounds quite funny to me. But, like, yeah, you're basically specializing yourself until a certain point of your life, and you're happy with it. But the great thing is, if you aren't happy at any point, you can change yourself. And you can change yourself in a way that you want to be. Never, if you think you're right about yourself, the only thing that matters to yourself is your mental strength and the way that you are feeling about yourself. I went through parts of my life, and I still do, where I really struggle with my mental self. Like, I always think, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing stuff right? And sometimes it takes a lot of convincing for me to go, yes, I'm doing the right thing, because I really enjoy it. But sometimes, sometimes you have to change yourself. And I did that a lot, and I still do. When I see something not right in my life, I change it. You should never feel like you're stuck. You should never feel like you're in a situation that can't be changed. Because everything can be changed when you get down to it. Even down to the basic essentials. I mean, there's people who get bloody sex changes. I mean, for me, I'd never do it, because, I'm happy being a dude. But the thing is, if you're not, you don't have to. There we go, and Kaboozy. Right, okay, sorry, I was hacking something. If you're not happy with yourself, you can completely change yourself. And that's great. That's what life should be. Everybody is born with different mindsets. And therefore, everybody should be accepting of every mindset. I mean, if you have a view that I don't agree with, then, fair enough. That's your opinion, man, from the Great Lebowski. Another awesome film. Brilliant actor, whoever that guy is. Wow, you just popped out of the floor, didn't you? But, like, yeah, that's your opinion about that. And who am I to say you're wrong? I can understand why, if I say something and somebody says, no, you're wrong, I can completely get that. Because a lot of people have a different way of thinking about things. And I do too. Like, the way I think about things is usually not normal to most people. First of all, I sum it up, then I research it, then I look through everything, and then I make a deduction. I'm very scientific in that way. Not the way, like, I'm actually quite free mentally. Like, my boss I always have these crazy ideas about stuff. And the thing is, think about Einstein. If Einstein didn't have crazy ideas every so often, he may have not had the imagination capable to come up with the ideas that he came up with. Obviously, relativity springs to mind. But, like, basically, don't ever feel bad voicing your opinion. Like, I never do. Even if you're wrong. Because the thing is, if you're wrong and you voice your opinion, and somebody shows you that you're wrong, and shows that this is better, like, if I say 2 + 2 = 5, then everyone's like, no, it's 4. Then I can still say, no, it's 5. But the thing is, if they show me it equals 4, and prove to me so, then there you go. Like, then you go, okay, it's 4. But if I stick in my little head, still having those same views about 2 + 2 = 5, and never voice it, then I will always believe that, no matter how weird of a situation it is, because I don't have other people's opinions with it. The thing is, you learn from the people around you. You learn from, let's say, YouTubers. Like, I watch some of Total Biscuit's stuff. Very interesting guy. Very cool. He's quite up there with, I think, 1.5 million subs. And the thing is, he does these WTF videos, which basically showcase new games, show you like the start of them and if they're any good or not. And obviously his opinion is there. But I don't really go for his opinion. I watch the gameplay and see if it's any good or not. Obviously his opinion is awesome and his voice is great. Like, his voice is basically designed for YouTube, the way he talks. And it's quite funny because he's also from near where I am, but I sound completely different because I'm in Canada and been affected by that. I used to talk exactly like him, which is very weird to me. But anyway, yeah, you're influenced by the people around you. You're influenced by the politics, by the environment that you are from, which isn't always necessarily a bad thing, but it's just interesting to think about. Like, I have a lot of friends who are from different cultures, and because of the school I went to in England, I've always had friends from different places, and I have always been thankful for that, because it gives me a different outlook on life. And same with religion. Like, I have a lot of friends who are Islamic, which is great, because the way they think about stuff is completely different to the way I do, which means that we can have discussions about it, and even come to, like, compromises about stuff. But if you never speak, you never discuss things, you never even debate things, you will always be stuck in this one mindset. And there's nothing that will change it because you have no frame of reference. So, if you disagree with someone, or if you go out and start talking and stuff, that's not a bad thing, because it gives a different point of view. And some people absolutely hate that. Like, I was talking... I just shot myself trying to hack something. That was awful. A lot of people talk to me about... boozy, lovely stuff. Talk to me about in everyday life. What about problems? What if you have a social issue, or what if you have a problem with somebody that, or you don't believe in your opinion? Well, tell them. Like, I mean, have the confidence to go and say, no, I believe you're wrong. Because, you know, they can shout at you heaven in a day, but that just shows that they're immature about it, and they don't even want to listen to what you have to think. Which is just sad, to be quite honest. And most of the time, if who you're talking to is a decent person or a normal person, you'll talk about, you know, your differences in the issues, and then you'll see it from their point of view and you'll see it from yours. And that just works. I don't know why it works, but it somehow changes your opinion on it, and it will change theirs as well, because somebody has challenged their opinion. And that means that... Ooh, can I gather Adam off this guy? Yes, I can. Okay, there we go. And it means that you learn as a person, and you can also learn how to talk to different people. And let's get some trap rivets right here. There we go. There's that sort of... How did you get past my defences? Yeah, so that's that whole subject. Why not talk about games for a bit? Stuff I'm looking forward to. I've been looking at a lot of Titanfall stuff. I don't know, you know? I'm kind of skeptical about it. I'm very skeptical about Titanfall. As I am a lot of next-gen games, because so far they've been pretty dire. There's been nothing that has come out of the woodwork. I mean, a big funny thing to me was NFL. Like, I remember on my Facebook there was a lot of stuff, a lot of new things about this new NFL game, about its graphics and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, why not? Let's have a look. I mean, the last one I played was about 6 years ago, and I watched it and it was exactly the bloody same. Like, there's basically nothing has changed. All the mechanics are the same. The graphics are just improved. And to me, that's not growth in a game. Like, think about Bioshock, right? You look at Bioshock 1 to 2. The environment hasn't really changed that much. But the mechanics have. I mean, you have a fucking drill, for a start. You have completely different weapons. You have the hack tools completely changed, and the story is completely changed, which is so great. But in the new NFL, it's not like that at all. Is it Knack? Yeah, it's Knack, isn't it? Knack is not appealing to me at all. I've kind of grown out of childish games, and to me that is a child's game. What was that other one? I can't remember what it was called, but basically that one for the PS4, which basically came out, and the shooter, whatever it's called, it's a shooter. There's nothing different to it. There's nothing special. As all the reviews say, and after watching gameplay, it's a shooter. There's nothing spectacular about it, so meh, you know, I've kind of got over shooters now. I'm more into story and mechanics now. As a gamer, I prefer them. They're much more fun to me. Titanfall, I'm worried. Watch Dogs, I'm also worried. I love the fact that they thought it wasn't ready to release, so they pushed it back, which they should have done with Rome 2 Total War, you absolute idiot. That game was absolutely abysmal on launch, and even after patch 9, it is kind of fixed, but it's still not what it should be, which is a bit of a problem. But eventually it'll get there, maybe after 20 patches, for God's sake. Let's rescue her. Yeah, that game was terrible, and I made a video on it and got a lot of dislikes for it, but that's what happens when you go against popular opinion, I suppose. But a lot of people turned around to it, and the likes to dislikes ratio is a bit better. But I want to do more videos like that, because I think now people, they're very skeptical, as I am right now with games, where you look at the last year and look how many bad games were made. Like flipping Ride to Hell Retribution, that was probably one of the worst games ever made. And then there was flipping Revelations 2012, which I think came out before last year, but I had the inconvenience of playing it this year, so that affected me mentally as well as physically. Yeah, that was a terrible game, but the thing is, there's games coming out this year, such as like Watch Dogs, that looks quite interesting. I want to know how they do it. I want to see how they do it without screwing up the game completely and making it too easy. There's also the new Metal. Is it Metal Gear? I believe it's Metal Gear. That looks absolutely insane. But hopefully they don't go crazy with the story like they have the other Metal Gears. Yeah. I'm skeptical about Titanfall. I think the idea of the 6v6 is completely fine. But everybody's just gonna want to be in a mech. So it's gonna be very balanced mechs against each other, and that's gonna get very boring very fast. And the fact that there's bots all over the place, well, people are just gonna farm bots, aren't they, surely? I mean, why wouldn't you? I would. Why engage a person who has actual skill when you can go against a bot? The AI will never be as good as a player. It might get there, sometimes, but right now, in gaming, it definitely isn't there. Bots are not clever, as shown in Rome 2. AI has always been a problem in video games. Some of the best video games, basically they're good because their AI is good. Which is quite interesting to me. But it makes complete sense because so many games do AI horribly. Like Aliens Colonial Marines, I mean, Jesus Christ. I played that game because Aliens is an interesting series. I've never loved or hated it, but I've enjoyed it, which is, you know, to me that's quite interesting. But I played it, and your allies were just useless. And it was so annoying. It's kind of like in Men of War. The one gripe I've got about Men of War is that your allies, it takes them like 50 shots sometimes to kill something that you would kill in one shot. And I understand why they've done it for balance, so that's okay. Like, it's not that much of a big deal because you don't only have to control one guy, you're basically controlling an army. But when it comes to a game where it's an FPS. Or an RTS even, when you have to rely on your ally. It gets really bloody annoying because basically you're doing a 2-person job when you're only supposed to be doing 1. So hopefully the AI is good in that game. But I do have my doubts, which I'm sure all of us do, about games coming out, because there have been so many bad games over these last 2 years. Graphically, mechanically, everything like that. And because you have something like Steam, which basically releases what it wants, I mean, you can basically break the system on Steam very easily with Greenlight. Hey, get off me, son. And also with the fact that now you can fund games using... Oh, I can't remember what it's called, that website, which kind of like Indiegogo, but there's a Kickstarter. There we go. You can use sites like Indiegogo and Kickstarter to fund stuff which really shouldn't be funded, and you can basically break the system. Like, let's say you ask for 100 grand for something, you can put in 50 grand yourself, and then another 50 grand probably people will go in because they go, oh, other people have backed this, so I should as well. Which is just, you know, that's cheating. That's really badly cheating. And there was this game, I can't remember what it was, but it was only asking for 300 grand, and it was like an open world game, which was like a medieval open world game, and it was basically just medieval stuff. And like, it was everything medieval, nothing special to it, no mythical stuff, no crazy powers or anything like that, which, you know, was cool. Like, it was interesting. But the thing is, they were asking for 300 grand, right? And I want to know, do they think an open world game is only going to cost 300 grand to make? I mean, all they had was like a very, very pre-alpha build of one village, and they want to make a whole open world game. And I want to know how that works. But, you know, I suppose if they can show where they're going to put the resources and everything like that, then shouldn't be any of a problem. But I don't know. 300 grand is not enough to fund a game. How about, why don't you go up and look? Let's just get the incendiary upgrade, also get the health upgrade and the Eve upgrade. Why the hell not? But basically, go and look up how much Skyrim was to make, or even Fallout 3, 2 pretty good games. And I bet you they were more than 300 grand. But yeah, that's basically what I think about that. But it's just been over an hour, about an hour and 10. So I think it's time to wrap this up. Maybe I'll do some more in the future, I'm not really sure. It was quite fun to do and quite easy to talk about, so I think it's something that I definitely could do in the future. So anyway, thank you for watching, and have a great day.